Hello everybody, welcome back. My name's Jase. This channel is about our journey to become more self-sufficient, and today I need to do some potting on, some pricking out and potting on. My first seedlings of the year are ready to move on into their own individual pots. So join me as I prick out some iceberg lettuce. So these little seedlings are iceberg lettuce. I did actually sow some mixed salad leaves along the other side of this tray, and they don't seem to have come up, so I don't know if that's because they're just really old seed, but I'll sow some more in a little bit. But I need to prick these out. As you can see, they're getting a little bit clumped up, and some of them are actually now starting to grow their first true leaves. So the first two leaves that a seedling puts out aren't its true leaves, and they will just die back and fall off. So when I'm pricking these out, I want to make sure I hold the little seedling leaves, not the stem and not the true leaves, because if you hold the stem and you crush it or damage it, because these are very fragile, you're going to kill the seedling. If you hold on to the little seedling leaves, its first leaves, then you're not going to do much damage to the plant. So that's what I'm going to do. I was bought this little mini gardening set. There's a spade, a shovel and a rake in there for Christmas, so I thought I'd try one of these to actually do the pricking out with. We'll go with the little shovel. Isn't that diddy? Okay, so I've prepared some pots, and all these are, it's just spent compost with some vermiculite in, and I'm just going to make a little hole in each one, deep enough to get the roots into, and then we'll prick out the seedlings and get them transplanted. So we're going to get some cold weather, I think, over the next few days, so I will be thinking about where I've got stuff and either protecting it or taking it indoors, because it's going to get a bit chilly. I think we're going to get down to about freezing point on Sunday night. So you just gently prick out the seedling. See all its roots here, holding the seedling leaf, not its true leaf. I don't know if you can just see its true leaf there, and then just poke it down into the hole, and that's that. So we'll do this one. Trying to get the roots down into the hole. And these will stay in these pots for a few weeks yet, until it gets a little bit warmer outside. And the thing is, it's not just about how warm it is on the forecast, it's about the soil temperature. So especially if you're sowing seeds outside, you really want 10 degrees or above soil temperature. So you can either use a proper soil thermometer or just a normal glass thermometer, put it in the soil down to a couple of inches, and let's see what it says. Now lettuce are quite, they don't mind cool temperatures, but like I say, I will be protecting these later in the weekend. Get those in. Apologies if there's a bit of noise in the background from the building site, but hopefully with this mic and what have you, it won't be too bad. And this is my first transplantings, my first pricking out and potting on of the year. And what I do is I go for the biggest seedlings first, and see what's left. And with 10, what we've got there, we're going to have 12 lettuce there. When we plant them out, there may be some slug damage, so we may end up with only 8, but that's still quite a bit of lettuce. And what I'll do is I'll sow some more in this tray later in the video, because these were sown probably 2 or 3 weeks ago. So successional sowing gives you a never ending supply throughout the season, and I try to sow every sort of 2 or 3 weeks. That one, that looks the healthiest. This compost is quite damp, so I'm not going to water these. I'm just going to put them somewhere warm-ish in the house and keep my eye on them for a few days while they settle in, and then they'll be away. And now they've got their own individual pots, they should start to grow a bit more quickly. What's really important is, if you're using a big pot compared to the seedling, is that you don't overwater the pot, because all that wet compost around the little roots of the seedling can just basically rot the roots away and kill the plant. So just be very sparing with your watering and make sure that they're not sitting in really wet compost. So I'll put those somewhere light, south facing windowsill, and leave them to it. So I've got some more seeds, and I'm going to sow some more iceberg, and I've got a newer packet of mixed salad leaves, so I'm going to sow some of those as well. So I've pulled out the remaining seedlings that I haven't transplanted, given it a bit of a mix up, and just like you would if you were sowing seeds direct into the garden, I'm just going to make a furrow both sides, not very deep, only probably 5 millimeters, something like that, 8 millimeters. And on my label I've got iceberg on this side and mixed salad on that side, so we'll go with the mixed salad. The lettuce seeds are quite small, so the trick is to try and not sow too many in one go. Quite difficult if you've got clumsy fingers like me. So it's trying to scatter them as thinly as possible. And there's probably 15 or so there. And I think I've just dropped a few more in. But that's okay. Like I say, you put on the big ones and the ones that look strong, and the rest doesn't matter. They're just little seedlings. You get a lot of seeds in a packet. And the reason I do mixed salad leaves as well as things like iceberg, because obviously the iceberg grows into a whole lettuce that you would pick in one go, whereas the mixed salad leaves, you can just keep taking the outer leaves of the plant and leaving the plant to grow on, and they'll go for a few months before the plant goes to seed. So there's probably quite a few got in there as well, but that's okay. In the warmer months we do like salad, and it's great to put in a sandwich or a garnish with a meal. So I'm just going to cover those over. Now I am going to water this tray. It's been inside on the windowsill and it is a little bit dry, so I'll move those seeds out of the way. go. Pricked on and potted on iceberg lettuce and some new seeds sown. So let me show you now what the other seedlings I've got growing look like. So under this fleece I've got my peas growing, and I'll take the fleece off, show you what's happening. And I've got two types of peas growing under here. We've got Monge 2, and you can see that there's a few coming up now and sprouting, and these were just sown straight into these pots, just dried peas, and probably 2 weeks ago. And we've what we've got there, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, we've got 9 coming up out that tray. The others probably aren't far behind, and they've just stayed in here. It's an unheated greenhouse. Peas are quite cold tolerant, so you don't have to worry too much about conditions as long as it's not going to get really cold. These might get taken in at the weekend. I'm going to keep my eye on the forecast, and they may well get taken in overnight on the colder nights. And then in this tray there's nothing actually cold. There's one. These are Marrow Fat Peas, and I tried twice last year to get these to grow. These are the peas that you make mushy peas from, and it started as a bit of fun last year, and because I failed, it's now become a challenge. So I did do a video on these last week where I soaked them overnight in water and then chittered them on some damp kitchen roll just to get them to germinate, and then put them in these pots. So I'll put a link to that video in the description. And there's another one coming up. So chitting them has definitely worked. They are starting to show, and there's another one. Okay, good. And again, I will probably take this tray inside at the weekend. Right, let's get those covered back up. So we're in our little conservatory on the back of the house, which is perfect for bringing on these little seedlings because it's south facing, and although it isn't a heated room, it gets quite warm in the daytime. So we've got kohlrabi and chard that I sowed last week, celery and celeriac. None of those are coming up yet. Neither are the aubergines, they're not coming up, but they were only sown last week. And then here we've got 2 trays of Musselburgh leeks, and they're coming on good. They've been sown for probably 2.5 weeks, something like that. And then that's the tray of lettuce I've just sown. And then these are Elsa Craig onions, coming on quite nicely. I'm not going to pot these on, prick these out and pot these on like I have done in previous years. I'm just going to let them grow on in these trays and then divide them up like we do leeks and plant them out. And you know, we're almost at the end of February now. Sometime in March I would expect to be planting these into the garden. Bearing in mind I'm in Shropshire, UK, your area could be completely different, so just because I'm doing that doesn't mean you should do that. If you're in the south of the UK, you could do it earlier. If you're in Scotland, you're going to perhaps do it a bit later. So check the forecasts and your temperatures and everything for the area that you're growing in. So that's those. I need to turn these trays around actually. They're growing towards the light, they're leaning over. So every day I come in and turn the trays around. Like that. So that's those. This is the remainder of last year's garlic. We're down to the really small cloves now, but this is Solent white garlic that we grew last year. Lovely, really is a nice garlic, and I've got a whole bed of it growing right now down the garden. And these are a couple of parsnips that I found. I thought I'd cleared the parsnip bed. Obviously not. Every time I look at it, I see another one sprouting, and so I dug this up, snapped the bottom off it, but that's not a bad parsnip. So these were sown last year, last March, and parsnips will grow for 1 year, and then the foliage will die back, the parsnip will sit in the ground, and the next spring it will start to sprout again and then go to seed. And this is one of last year's, and it's feeling pretty good. So there's another one. So we will be probably having these this weekend on a roast dinner. So up in the back bedroom, south facing, we have chilies and peppers in this heated propagator. Not really anything to show you, not much happening at all, and I'm not certain I'm going to do very well with chilies and peppers this year. These two trays were sown probably 2-3 weeks ago now with last year's seed. A couple have come up, but they seem to have stopped. This tray was sown last week, so there's hope yet. And then over here we've got the first wave of brassicas for the year. So in there we've got broccoli, kale, spinach, and 2 different lots of cabbage. Getting a little bit leggy, but they always do, especially when you're trying to grow them indoors. And you can see that they're leaning towards the light, and really I need to make room somewhere for these. I think after the weekend, if the weather warms up, these are going to go down into the greenhouse under a bit of fleece, where they're going to get a bit more light. So I'll put that tray on the windowsill the other way around, so they start to lean back the other way. Now brassicas, I find, always go leggy at this time of the year, but you just plant them deeper when you prick them out and pot them on. Brassicas like to be planted deeper. Each time you move them on, plant them deeper than they were before, and they're absolutely fine with that. Okay guys, as you may know, I've recently launched a membership part of the channel, and if you are interested in that, there's a join button below. Just click the button and you can read the different types of membership that are available. There's also a buy me a coffee link if you are interested in donating to the channel and supporting the channel to make more videos and better videos. So thank you very much. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please give it a thumbs up. That really does help the channel. Drop a comment in, that really helps the channel too. It's all about algorithms, and the more communication on a video, thumbs up, things like that, the more Google will promote the video to other viewers. So thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.